Transportation Center. As you can see, I am surrounded by some very, very important people. And they're about to say a few words to you regarding something of a major accomplishment that... I hear you. We're about to talk about a major accomplishment that each and every one of these people behind me has worked very hard to make happen, and that is a grant, a Tiger III grant by the federal government that will be used exclusively to improve this transportation center and make it a more customer-friendly place for all that use it. And the purpose, as we all know, is to encourage ridership on the rail and off of our roads. And this is a major, major effort that will result in that. Now, I would like to start by introducing Senator Joseph Lieberman, who will say a few words about the Tiger III grant.
Thank you. Thanks, Mayor. It's great to be here. It's great to be with the former great mayor of Stamford and the current great mayor of Stamford and the current great governor of Connecticut. And his Commissioner of Transportation, of course, my dear friends, who I'll turn this over to in a minute, my colleague, Senator Dick Blumenthal and Congressman Jim Hines. This is some good news. It's a kind of gift for Stamford and this region at this wonderful holiday time of year. This is a celebration of success and progress for Stamford and the broader region, which I'm convinced will be good for economic growth and job creation in this area. The fact is, as the mayor said, that Stamford, for this transit center, has been awarded a $10.5 million Tiger III grant to improve the transit center. How about that? That's good news. I want to hold a trivia quiz here today. Does anybody know what Tiger stands for?
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh. Very good, Governor. Okay. Tiger, I must admit, I checked this morning myself because I didn't know. Transportation investments generating economic recovery. This is the third round of those. In the second round, two Connecticut applicants, Bridgeport and New Haven, were awarded Tiger grants. This round was extremely competitive, and that's why I want to say thank you and congratulations to the city and the state for the grant application that was put together. It came down to, there were $14 billion worth of applications from around the country for Tiger III grants. And the federal government only had $527 million available. 141 of that was exclusively for rural projects, transportation projects. So there's only $386 million available. So it was very tough competition. 46 projects around the country in 33 states were funded, and one of them, I'm proud to say, right here in Stamford, Connecticut. The city and the state really put together a great application, and I can tell you that the Secretary of Transportation, Ray LaHood, who we want to thank this morning because he made the decision, told me that this was a great application, and he was really impressed by the amount of matching funds that the city was prepared to put forward to make this application work. And it was a big part of why he made the decision. So what's the impact? I mean, others will speak, but if you just look to either side and you see the tremendous growth going on here and over to this side now with the harbor project, you see the impact of the Stamford Transit Center. The improvements that are going to be made as a result of this $10.5 million grant will improve on those results. And I'm convinced this is like the Field of Dreams movie. If you build it, they will come. If you build a transit center and you improve the transit center as it will be improved as a result of this grant, people will come to Stamford and the surrounding area to live and to work. The bottom line here is this grant's going to create jobs and protect a lot of good jobs that exist in this part of our state, and I'm just thrilled to have been part of it. I'm now honored to introduce my colleague in the Senate, my friend and partner in the Senate for this year. He's off to a really great start, and I will tell you that in a little more than a year, he will be ready to become Connecticut's next senior United States Senator.
Well, thank you. I'm not quite sure I'm ready yet to become so senior, but this is really a proud day. I think that the old adage, a picture is worth 1,000 words, certainly holds true here. Not just the picture of this wonderful transportation hub, which will become a world-class transportation center worthy of a world-class city, but also the team that we have here. You know, winning this battle for funding took a fight. It took a real fight, and it took teamwork. Bipartisan teamwork that ought to be the watchword these days in Washington as it is in Connecticut. The governor was at the lead of this fight. We battled together. Literally, it took visits and phone calls and documents, a team effort to win this fight for funding that Stamford not only needs but deserves. If there is one figure that says it all to me, it is the $3.5 billion, that's billion with a B, dollars in economic development that will result in this area as a result of these improvements. The doubling of people who will come through this center to 60,000 every day from the present 30,000 is a testament not only to the need but the opportunity that we are going to meet through this kind of funding. And the fact that it is not only a partnership among parties, but also between the public and private sector, I think is really profoundly important. The amount that the federal government is devoting here, $10.5 million, is less than the amount that will come from the private sector, about $16.7 million. So the public taxpayer is only a part of what goes into this investment, and the ultimate result will be jobs. This center is about jobs, jump-starting the economy, promoting our fragile economic growth, making sure that Stamford continues to be the world-class city that it is. And let me just close by saying that this picture behind me is particularly noteworthy because it's just a few Stamford guys coming home, having made good. You know, a nice way for Lieberman, Malloy, Blumenthal to come home to Stamford, helping Stamford to make good. And I'm really proud to be here as part of this team. Mayor Pavia is doing a great job here, and we can be proud to be from Stamford and maybe to be coming back to Stamford one day and to be using this great transportation center.
Thank you. It is a thrill for me to be joining the Voices celebrating this investment today. I can't claim Stanford heritage, but I am from Coscob, which is about 200 yards from Stanford. So for the day anyway, I'm going to claim Stanford heritage and say thank you to the many people here who worked so hard to bring about this investment. I will tell you, I will speak for myself, but I think I'm speaking for others when I say that we were surprised at this investment. Many of you will know that Fairfield County got another Tiger grant up the road in Bridgeport, and given the numbers you heard and how rare this money was, it is a true testament to the incredible application that Stanford put together, the compelling nature of the investment, and of course the very hard work of everybody standing behind me. Ray LaHood at the end of the day really had no choice. If he wanted to do anything else, he was going to have to stop taking calls from Governor Malloy, from the two senators, and from my office. So I think he finally just surrendered and said, it makes sense, let's do it. But it does make sense. And I also want to point out that this is exactly the kind of public-private partnership that we need to see more of. And I want to thank Carl Keener and all the people of BLT, not just for their participation in this project, but for what we see happening behind us. There are not a lot of places in the state of Connecticut, or frankly in the United States of America, where there are buildings going up, where there are cranes on the horizon, where people are working to invest in the future of a region. And of course, that's what's happening right here. This is the second busiest train station between New York and Boston. It needs investment, it needs attention, it needs focus if it is to continue to act in that capacity and to provide jobs right across the way in Stamford. 3 hours from now, I'm getting on a train to go back to Washington, to the center of this very ugly partisan debate that we've been treated to for years now. This stands in opposition to the idea that the solutions are simple, that there is no role for government, that there should be more role for government. This is exactly the kind of investment that we, Democrats and Republicans, and we've got both up here today, should be working together, because the net result is more jobs, a higher tax base, better schools, and thriving cities and communities. So for that, I say thank you to everybody behind me and to all of those of you who helped put together an absolutely first-rate application that is going to result in a thriving Stamford. Thank you very much. And at this point, it's my pleasure to introduce a true son of Stamford, a good friend of mine and a good friend of everybody in Stamford in the state of Connecticut, our Governor, Dan Malloy.
As I said to my friends, any day you can spend a part of your day in Stamford is a good day. And this is a particularly good day because we get to celebrate something that's so very important, and something that I worked on when I was mayor through a couple of applications of Tiger grants, and certainly happy to see it come to fruition as the governor of the state of Connecticut. Certainly proud of the work that the congressional delegation did along with the mayor to make sure that this project was written and prepared and supported in such a way as that it should have been, and I think ultimately was an easy choice. One of the highest rates of reimbursement or participation by the private sector, representative of a great willingness by the state of Connecticut to invest in this center. And as short as a month from now, we may be going out to RFP on addressing some of the additional parking requirements and replacement requirements at this facility. I don't want to correct the congressman, but actually it's the largest station between New York and Boston. It's the second largest station on Metro North, second only to Grand Central Station. And the idea that we simply have got to wrap our minds around is that Stamford represents this very unique opportunity, and actually this corridor represents a very unique opportunity to allow us to compete for additional job growth in the coming years. After all, what we've done is balanced our books and maintained a superior competitive advantage against some of our neighboring states. People have to consider coming to Fairfield County. That's why just a few weeks ago it was so great to launch a new rail station in Fairfield. That's why we're doing studies about other additional rail stations along the corridor. That's why getting the work done here in Stamford at this particular facility with this grant, with the public and private partnership that we have here, looking forward as well to parking replacement and if not expansion, as well as working with the folks who are developing in the area to find other ways that we can cooperate, is what we are in fact celebrating today. It's more than $10.5 million. It's really literally $100 million ultimately of the kind of investment that needs to be made in the south end of Stamford, serving downtown Stamford as well. You know what? Let's be honest. Connecticut's on the move again, and this is part of it. And we're going to build on this success in the coming months and the coming years. So it's great to work with our congressional delegation, great to work with the mayor, great to have a wonderful transportation commissioner. Jim Redeker deserves a lot of credit for what's happened here as well, and certainly to have my friend Chris Brule.
Infrastructure, whether it's rail, energy, telecommunications, or all the rest, they're really a foundation of economic activity and our ability to compete. So today's announcement, as many of those you've heard so far, really have been talking about successful cooperation that will enable Stamford, which is an economic engine for the whole state, to continue to be a great location for business to compete from. And it makes it a lot easier for our people to get to and from work, to and from their homes, to and from one of the world's great growth engines, which is New York City, and to work throughout the state. So the Business Council of Fairfield County, representing companies throughout the region, we're headquartered here, was really honored to have the opportunity to participate. We brought together a transportation roundtable. Our chair is Dan Lenkowski from Purdue Pharma. We have members here today from that group. John Freeman from BL&T, Carl Keener, welcome again, Jeff Newman from the Malkin Properties, others who are not here. Also, we were invited by Mayor Pavia to bring others into the process, and we're delighted that the Downtown Special Services District, represented today by Sandy Goldstein, the Stanford Chamber of Commerce, the Stanford Partnership, SWERPA, our regional planning agency with Floyd Lapp, all were part of this process of saying the private sector can be customers, we can be constituents, and we can be colleagues. And that willingness of the public sector to allow the private sector to, in fact, be colleagues, not merely constituents, really, in our view, was really central to the effectiveness of this process and demonstrated the vision and the maturity of our political leadership. When the Stanford train station, transportation center reinvigoration process really started a few years ago, it's worth noting that the Stanford mayor was a Democrat, the congressman was a Republican, and the governor was a Republican. Today, those party affiliations have changed, but the process continues because it isn't about partisan advantage in our state. It's about the opportunity to work together for the betterment of all of those who are living and working here. So we were delighted to have the opportunity, and we will be delighted to get the benefit of this investment. Because the great news here is the $10.5 million, as we have heard, is leveraging. It will leverage other funds, and it leverages economic activity going forward. And just as importantly, as the governor used the phrase, Connecticut is back, Connecticut's on the move again, this willingness to work in a bipartisan basis in a nation that's finding it very difficult to agree on our common nationhood really is ultimately the competitive advantage of Connecticut, of Fairfield County, and of Stanford. And we're delighted, and I can speak on behalf of our members, our leadership, we're glad that these folks are here, and we thank them for their leadership.
Just the fact that there are so many people here today to celebrate this accomplishment speaks hugely to the effort that went into this, the incredible effort that was, the only word to describe, the perfect collaboration. The perfect collaboration between our federal representatives, our senators, and our congressmen, our state of Connecticut, Governor Malloy, Jim Redeker, as well as the local effort, our grants office, Laura Bashan Economic Development, and everyone else that had a hand in putting together a beautiful package that represented another major word, and the word is region. The city of Stanford is now in a position where it will be revitalizing and rebuilding and adding value to a world-class facility that is part of the regional infrastructure. It doesn't belong to Stanford, it doesn't belong to Coscob, it doesn't belong to New Haven, it belongs to all of us. And I refer to the Stanford station as a subway stop from New York City. And what does that do? It adds a further dimension of what this facility means and what this facility represents. And in order for us to take advantage of the great city of New Haven and the great city of New York, we need to have this facility as best it could possibly be. And thanks to the collaborative effort of our representatives and the governor and everyone else that participated in this, we will have such a thing. Little story, personal story, I want to pass on to you. As it starts to get dark every night, and Governor Malloy will remember this when he occupied the office on the 10th floor, as the buildings start to let out and people start to leave UBS and RBS and Purdue and all of the other companies within the city of Stanford, they struggle to cross Washington Boulevard, and at night it's dark, and we have many people queued up in the painted median of Washington Boulevard. And to me, that's a scary thought, because these people are now in harm's way trying to get back and forth to the train station. That will all change when the new pathways are built and the access ways are built to this station, making it more conducive for people to walk, safer for them to walk, and more pleasurable for them to use what they need to use on a daily basis. The last word that I want to mention is civility. And we've seen civility demonstrated clearly in this application. Civility in contrast to the kinds of things that we see taking place throughout the nation. When there is a job to be done, the number one word is civility. Cooperation, understanding, civility. That's what made this happen. We all like each other very much. We speak to each other on a regular basis. And because of that collaboration and civility, we were able to bring to the city of Stamford something great. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you all for your effort. Now, it gives me pleasure to introduce someone whom I've worked with now for many years, and that's Commissioner of Transportation Jim Redeker.
And just a final word from the Department of Transportation. This was about collaboration, and this is about the fastest that we've seen a process of collaboration from all parties, from all the business partners, the state, and the city, put together a vision and transform a vision which typically could take forever to see come to fruition, translate it into a grant, get $10.5 million. So my word is commitment, and that is our commitment to get it done. Our partnering meeting kicks off next week to get this project on the move, and we want to deliver real products, real benefits to our customers, just like we're delivering new M8 cars, and we will hit our target of 60 cars this year as we promised, so that the system, which is the engine literally driving the economic vitality, can then be focused here as well with more improvements to our customers, a great experience for everybody, and truly a wonderful thing to celebrate as we celebrate this partnership. Thank you.